everybody. We have a treat for you today. We are on our third episode of Pet Peeves, and today it's about pet peeves with other real estate agents. We're going to ruffle some feathers, probably. We're going to change names just to protect the guilty or the innocent. But before we get into that, I want to welcome you to our Married to Real Estate podcast. I want to introduce myself. I'm Bruce DeMail, and I am with my lovely wife, Kelly.
Hello.
And we are married. We live together, obviously, but we also work out of our home. So we are all in this married to real estate thing. So before we get into the meat of the podcast, we would love to have you guys show us some love and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And when this podcast is done, you will have a ton of comments and a ton of questions. We want you to put them all down below. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun because we'd love to have you guys share your experiences with us as well.
And
So
maybe vent a little yourself,
absolutely. Okay, Kel, where do we start?
Well, let's start with fair is fair, right? We've done the pet peeves of sellers, we've done the pet peeves with buyers, so it's only fair that we rip on ourselves as agents. And I'll be the first to admit, I'm sure I'm guilty of some of these as well. I try not to, but none of us are perfect, but it's probably a really good thing we're doing this just to point out some of those things as a good refresher and reminder of don't be an asshole. Sorry to say it, but be a good agent out there. And maybe we're going to elevate the industry as a whole by just being better at what we do.
I just want to let you know that we got through 2 pet peeve episodes without Kelly swearing.
I also thought I should wear sunglasses and come a little incognito. If you guys know me at all, you know you get the good, the bad, the ugly. So
Yep.
I'm just
All
going to
right.
tell it like it is. So
Perfect.
anyway, first pet peeve, and this is just across the board, lack of communication. We have to work together. If I reach out because I've got a question on maybe a new listing you have, or we're in the middle of a deal together and I need something and I've called you and it's like crickets, no response, I've texted you, I shouldn't have to wait 3, 4, 5 days for you to respond. And I've left several messages. Just be responsive. This is part of your job, and your clients are depending on you to respond and to keep this all moving forward. So just call me back or text me back. Even if you don't have an answer, if I'm asking for something and you don't have it yet, just respond back. Don't have that yet. It might be a few more days. Just respond.
It is interesting. We talked about lack of communication in the sellers and buyers pet peeves as well, and
Mhm.
it does roll over to the real estate agents too. But there's one more level, I think, with the communication with real estate agents is that we are held to a little higher standard where, time is of the essence, and we are all dealing on time frames. If somebody doesn't get back to you by the end of the inspection time frame, there could be issues for the side that they're representing.
Well, and not only that, it makes me look bad to my client. I'm not going back to them and saying, well, yeah, I've left them 10 messages and they haven't responded, because I don't want to make you as the other agent look bad, right? That's part of the problem. But at some point in time, I got to relay that information that I'm trying, because they're expecting me to relay back to them information that I just can't get from you. So just respond, you guys. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
That's a good one. Give me another one.
Number two, let's talk about writing offers. Okay. There's probably a lot of things that are going to come up and be relative to offers, but there's two big problems I see. The first one is we have a lot of agents out there that, quite frankly, I feel shouldn't be agents, right? They don't know what they're doing. And what I mean by that is, me, for years I've been training and teaching, especially new agents, in regards to the biggest and most important part of what we do is knowing our paperwork. That's the legal documentation that's binding everybody to this transaction. And if we are in front of our clients or we're presenting an offer and we don't even know what we're doing, we filled things out completely wrong, or we've left things blank, you're not representing your client in their best interest if you don't know how to fill out a contract, or you do know, but you just aren't filling it out completely. And to me, like, you're in default because you're not doing your job. So that's a big problem. If they don't know what they're doing, then call me and, ask me the question. I'm happy to explain what it is so that you can complete it correctly before you submit it to me. But I don't want to have to now follow back up with you and do your job. right? So the other part is like even more, just drives me bat shit crazy. You're not filling out the offer the way you want your buyer to fill out the offer or the way you feel they should fill out the offer. Okay. Your job is to advise them on what the pros and cons are of their decisions. Right? So if they want no inspection, it's your job to say, are you sure? Just this is your last chance to take a look at the house. It's your job to advise them, not to tell them what goes in the blank on the offer. So remove your ego, people, and do your job. Be their advisor and their consultant.
So give me an example.
Well, I just did the inspection thing. So, I wouldn't just automatically fill in the fact that it's contingent on an inspection or not contingent on an inspection because I feel that'll get my buyer's offer accepted. It's, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, you get the option to have an inspection and or make this offer contingent on an inspection. How do you feel about that? Right. And based on their answer, I'm going to say, based on you not having an inspection or not wanting an inspection, you just want to bring up the fact that this is the last chance that a third party might be able to get a set of eyes on the house and you might be able to ask for any fixes or repairs. Are you okay with not having that ability? Or you need to know that your offer may not get accepted because there's 6 others on the table and you're going in contingent on an inspection. You just need to know that that's the reality of the situation. But of course, I never want you to do anything you're not comfortable with. So, are there ways that we can still make this offer contingent on an inspection, but make it better? Maybe put in there that we're only going to ask for big ticket items that are over a certain dollar amount or something like that. Our job is to advise, not to fill in the blanks for them based on how we think they should write the offer.
So it sounds like they need more education during the offer writing process to their buyers, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've seen people come into an offer situation when I'm training agents and they've got half the things filled out already. No, no, no. We're sitting down with our clients and we're taking them through the offer and what are their options? What are their options for this fill in the blank, right? And what are the pros and cons of those options? And based on their goals, what's the best fit?
So what I'm hearing is there's some agents out there that are lazy. They just don't want to take the time, so they pre-fill out what they think they should be based on what they think should happen.
Yep. And I'm going to just tell you, it's not just new agents. There are new agents that do this, but there are old agents that have been in the business for a long time that are very just set in their ways. And our industry changes all the time. Our paperwork changes all the time. So you've just got to stay on top of that and understand it.
Yep. Okay. Good.
Yep.
So what else you got?
Here's another one. Being late to showings. Or to any appointment. That's probably, I think, one of the biggest jokes in our industry is that realtors are always late, right? We're creating our own monsters. Be professional, be timely. Don't have your buyers waiting for you for 15 minutes at a house and you're 15 minutes late. Not only now are you throwing maybe other showings behind and you're creating overlapping showings, which if you don't have to, that's better for your buyer is to not be in a house with other people and other agents. So just be professional, be on time, be prepared. That's another one of my pet peeves. Agents will show up to a showing and not prepared. They don't have any disclosures or they don't have a MLS sheet with the data. Most of the times good agents have that in their listings, so you're able to grab that while you're there, but you can't count on it because you don't know. So be prepared with your own information when you go to those showings.
Yeah, I was taught early on that if you're 15 minutes early, you're early. If you're 5 to 10 minutes early, you're on time. And if
Yes.
you're on time, you're late.
Yes. And also read the showing instructions. That's another one. It's like so simple. Read the showing instructions. If you need to turn the lights off, turn them off. Make sure all those doors are locked. Tell your buyers to take their shoes off if there's a remove your shoes sign. Just follow those showing instructions. Our job is to protect buyers and sellers, and these sellers are letting us bring buyers into their homes and protect that and just, again, be professional. That's probably going to be like the overarching theme of today is just be better, be a professional, take a few extra minutes to do your job well.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, another one for showing. Oh my gosh. Actually, this is one that is a pet peeve, but it's really kind of the start of some debate now. So this might change. I was going to say it bothers me when agents don't provide feedback. Okay. We've got sellers that know you showed the house. They're waiting to get feedback. They're on pins and needles. They're calling me. Hey, did you get feedback yet on the showing? Just do feedback. You don't have to like give negotiating terms away or give us some feedback so we know. But that is what is now becoming some new controversy, right? If I give my buyer's feedback to the seller, did I give up something that could have affected our negotiating down the road? Unfortunately, we're in an industry that gets beat to hell every which way we turn. We can't do anything right. So things may change, but right now I'm still a firm believer in provide feedback. It helps us all do our jobs. It helps the listing agent get their seller's property sold faster. If there's a blaring thing that keeps coming up like a purple wall or wallpaper, it allows them to have that conversation with the seller about removing the wallpaper. And if it's not a home your buyer's interested in, you can just say, my buyer's not interested, and here's why. Didn't have enough space, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
But
Easy peasy.
I think one of the protection things for the feedback for the agent, because we're not here just to slam the agents
Mhm.
100%.
Right.
But they
Today
also
we
need
are.
to get well, they also need to get permission from their buyers to give the feedback. And
Correct.
then the feedback that they give has to be the buyer feedback, not your feedback as the agent, although I would give that in a different way. But make sure that the buyers know that you're giving their feedback and get their approval. And then hopefully you've got yourself covered.
Yeah.
But just do it.
So staying on this showing houses theme, this is another huge pet peeve, and I know it's happened to every single agent out there. And I probably even have done it at one point in time because I just missed something on the MLS. But when you show a house and I get feedback that it didn't have a third car garage, well, you could see on the MLS that it only had a two-car garage. You could read at the data it only had a two-car garage, but now your buyer is not interested because it wasn't a three-car garage. I don't get
Don't
that.
show the house.
Well, right. If it's not fitting the criteria your buyer wants, don't show the house. Number two, read the MLS. That's why we take the time to put all this stuff in there. Don't call me and say, does it have this? When I'm like, yep, it's right on the MLS. It says that it has that, right? I mean, I don't say it that way, but in my mind, I'm thinking, yep, it's right there in writing. So, again, do your job. Look at the listing. If you still have questions, then by all means, reach out to get more explanation or clarity on a property if that information is not available to you through the MLS.
So you're probably going to get a comment from some agent that said, you did that to
I know
me before.
I said that. I'm probably guilty of some of these, but we're not perfect. I'm saying
Yeah.
it's just irritating.
Yeah.
You're going to be the first person to say I'm irritated. I irritate you. You irritate me. Hey, we're all in this boat together. So let's
And
just
we've
all
been
get better.
married for 20 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
life is good.
Exactly. Hoping to make 21. Yeah. This one I know I am going to get comments from. Poor listing photos.
No way. Nobody does that.
This is the comment that I'm going to get railed on. In this day and age, if you are not having a professional photographer take your listing photos, you should not be a real estate agent. I will go to my grave on that one.
Wait a minute. But what if my camera phone is awesome?
Nope, I don't care. I don't care because I wish I had like a comparison. Maybe I can dub some of that over this just to show you here's a good photo and a bad photo. How many times have you as agents been looking at homes, pulling them up, and they're dark, they're dingy, there's stuff everywhere. You've probably had no conversation with your seller about decluttering or getting ready, or maybe you have and they just didn't do it, so I'll give you that. But I see you standing in the mirror while you're taking the picture with your phone. It's horrible. I mean, number one, I want to say to every seller, expect more, right? Like review your listing once your agent puts it on. And if you have pictures like that, go back and say absolutely not acceptable. It should be a no brainer, but it is so inexpensive to have a professional photographer get out there. Most of them do drone photos. They can do the virtual walkthroughs. They can do all of that stuff, but just use professional photography.
Well, we keep saying this, you only get one chance to make a first impression. And those photos are going to be the first impression for all of the buyers. Why aren't they as good as they can be?
Yep, 100%.
Well, wait, on so I have something else. On the other side of that coin, some of the agents that do use professional listing photos, they take them so well that you get in the house and it looks like a bomb had gone off in the house, right? So there's that side of the coin too.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
what your job is to get people in the house. So that's where that professional photographer comes in.
yeah, as long as you're not doctoring up photos, which is, not legal or ethical, it is what it is, right? If the professional photos you took look great, great. There's nothing we can do about that, but just
Yep.
don't be doctoring up anything. If you're using virtual staging, which is a big thing now, just put in the comments that, the house has been virtually staged. Just be transparent. And that's all we expect from you. So,
Yep. All right. What's on next on your list of mile long?
yeah,
I
I
saw
think
this list and it
I
looks
know.
like Santa's naughty list.
Here it is, guys. I just didn't want to forget anything. This is my chance, right? So when you see me looking down, I'm looking at my list here. I think not sitting down and explaining the process to your clients, okay, whether it's sellers or whether it's buyers, take some time to prepare your clients for the process, what to expect. What happens next. I think if you don't, you have confused clients. They're the ones making phone calls now to you asking you what's coming next versus they should already know because you've prepped them for that. Let's just say you've got an offer and closing doesn't happen for 30 more days. There's a lot of quiet time, right? There's a lot of quiet time that they're just sitting and wondering. We know what's happening behind the scenes. We know the title company's doing their job and the lender's doing their job. They don't necessarily know that. So just prepare them. Let them know you're probably not going to hear much till we get a little bit closer to the closing date. Then that's when we're going to get back in touch with you, remind you about setting up your utilities or canceling your utilities, all of those types of things. But if you've had that conversation with them, now things don't feel so scary or confused because they remembered you saying, oh, yeah, there's going to be this quiet time, right? So be a consultant and an advisor and don't have them call you. The other thing I would tell you as agents, if you are not doing this, you should be. Make weekly phone calls to your clients. Even if there's nothing going on, just stay in touch with them regularly.
Be that best communicator and you're going to win, right?
Yep. Yep. Now, my next one,
You're kind of talking soft. What are you doing?
I hope that some people don't know who this is, but we do have someone in our area. Maybe I'll have to cut this later, but this is a pet peeve of mine. When I set up a showing on your listing, do not call me and now start shoving your listing down my throat. Do not oversell your listing.
You haven't even seen it yet.
Exactly. So there are agents that will right away call you and start telling you how great this house is and how priced well it is. First of all, now you're already putting me on the defensive of, all right, what's wrong with this house? If they gotta hard sell me this bad, what's going on? Now, I don't want this to be confused with if there's some stuff that I need to know about that I can't see in the MLS that is probably something I should know before I go see this house, by all means, call me. Tell me about it. I need to know that, right? But don't call me just to say what a great house this is and you've had a ton of traffic on it. So if my buyers are interested, I better let you know right away. Well, yeah, if my buyers are interested, I'm going to let you know right away. That's my job. Just that is a huge pet peeve of mine. I can see your listing. I've got all the data. I don't need you to hard sell me on it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you're a great real estate agent anyway, and you're going to do your job.
Yep.
So as much as you want to get that house sold, the more you try to oversell it, the more issues that you're going to think the house has because it's being pushed really hard.
Right. Right. Now, little disclaimer. I love all of you. So, don't not call me, but don't hard sell me. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, difference,
Anyway,
big
moving
difference.
on. My next one, probably we can lump a bunch of things in, but they all ultimately come down to unprofessional behavior or acting like you are the boss of the deal. Okay. We are both in this together. If I am working with a buyer making an offer on your listing, or I'm the listing agent and you're making an offer, our goal is to get this house sold for your buyer and my seller, or vice versa, right? We're on the same team, believe it or not. So don't be getting all up in my face if I'm presenting an offer that my buyer wants to make and it might not be an ideal offer.
But you're obligated to make it.
Absolutely. And if you're a good agent, you have had the conversation with your buyer about, this might be a low offer. It's probably not going to be well received, maybe because of this or this. Or if we are making a lower offer, I probably need to go in with some justification for why you're making this offer, right? So, but I'm still obligated to present that offer. And what I hate is when an agent says to me, well, my seller's not even going to consider that. Because first of all, you should never be speaking for your seller. Your job is to present any and all offers and let them say that, right? So becoming aggressive or angry or condescending because you don't like the offer I've presented is so unprofessional. I can't stand it. And there are some awesome agents in this town that I have worked with that are so professional, that are like, thank you for the offer. We'll get it presented, right? They don't give me their great offer, bad offer, can't you do better or whatever. They don't give me the commentary. They thank me for the offer and they do their job. So again, be better. And like I've always said, being an asshole isn't going to get us anywhere. Let's just figure it out and work as a team together.
And I think, yeah, I think part of this could be very educational. Just even from the standpoint that if an agent doesn't realize that that's how they're coming across, hopefully they watch this and they go, you know what, it's hitting kind of close to home, and maybe I should think about how to change it a little bit.
I'm sure even in my very first couple years of being an agent, I'm sure I had moments like that where I was like, "Oh, I don't know that the seller." I'm sure I've said that. So I'm going to take the hit on the back of the head as well, right? The other part is being combative instead of collaborative doesn't help anybody. So this is a really good story I want to share. I had the buyer and here we are. We are pre-approved the day before closing. They still cannot get a piece of documentation that they need, right? And it's coming down to the wire and we have to delay closing. I just hate those situations because, oh, the other agent is going to be so mad. And I get it. Everybody's going to be upset. And when I called the other agent, she didn't do the old, you got to be kidding me, make everybody feel worse. We're already all feeling worse. Nobody ever wants to cancel or postpone closing. Nobody. But it happens. And she was like, okay, what do you need? How much time do you need? Not a problem. You let us know. She was so cooperative and collaborated with me to help find a resolution that worked for everybody because our goal is the same. We're all on the same path to get to the closing table. And if now you're going to be a jerk about it and throw up more roadblocks, it's not helping the situation. So be a helpful agent and be more collaborative than combative, and we're all going to win then.
And I don't think you're saying that that is always that easy, right?
Right.
Because if
Totally.
somebody calls you up the day before closing and says, "Hey, we got to extend this closing just because of yada yada," you're going to be a little upset, especially if you know that the postponing of the closing affects 6 or 8 other deals down the road, right? So
Absolutely.
it's what we raised our hand for, to be in this business and everything that comes with this business, and that's part of it, is working right up to closing to try to get everything together. And I think you're saying just don't let your frustration show. Just hop on the phone, help
Well,
me get this thing accomplished so that everybody can win.
not even saying that. You can be frustrated. We're probably all frustrated at that moment that it's not going to close when we want it to. Don't be a dick or an asshole or whatever you want to, you know? Here's the deal. I don't want to give you this news. You don't want to hear this news. Being mean or rude or unhelpful isn't going to get us there any
Right,
quicker.
right.
So
Yeah,
that's really what I'm saying. And
makes
so
sense.
ultimately, that kind of leads on to the next thing. Real estate is a small world, very small. I know that we say there's thousands of agents in our area, but that still is a very small world. And so when you burn a bridge, when you are that jerk or you just handle a situation really poorly, or you're just a bad agent because you don't care enough to get better, you're going to start burning bridges. And I can guarantee you, every agent, if anybody's watching this, they know they all of a sudden get an offer from that agent, or you got to write an offer on a listing that's listed by that agent. And you just know the minute you see that name, you're just like, it's going to be a long deal. This is going to be a lot of work, or it's stressful, or there's anxiety because you don't want to deal with this person. So don't burn those bridges. Don't be that agent. I never want to be that agent. So first of all, I give every one of you permission to call me if I'm ever that way to you and call me out. But be an agent that when your name comes up on the phone or an email comes across, that they're like, awesome, Kelly's writing an offer on my deal. I love it. I mean, I want to be that agent. I want to get that reaction from people versus rolling their eyes and wanting to, stab their eyeballs out.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that's another one I have. Okay, moving on to my list here. Did I already get on to page 2? I did. We got through these pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're beating this horse to death here, but again, that that theme is be better, do better. So my last pet peeve that I'm going to share is that it really bothers me if you are that agent that talks bad about other agents so that you can get the deal or you can get the business. So it's toxic. It's unprofessional. It's what makes us look bad. It brings our industry down. So I have found that you will never win ultimately if that's how you do business. You will start to get a reputation of being that person. But I really feel it's the people that don't have confidence or they don't have enough value that they bring to the table as an agent. Those are the ones that are cutting everybody else down because that's the only way that they can make themselves look better. If you can't make yourself look better because you've developed good skills and you bring good value, the only way you can look better is to bring other people down. And so all I can say to you who are that type of agent is get better at your job. Build your skill sets, build value into what you bring to the table so that when you sit down with your clients, you can say what makes you better than other agents versus what makes them bad or why they're a bad agent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. You're gonna get more stuff with being positive than you are with being negative. I mean, that goes way beyond just our pet peeves with real estate agents.
It's
That's life in general.
the saying of you're going to get more bees with honey than you will with vinegar.
Right.
But here's the thing. A caveat to that is I don't have a problem in my pitch to say I've been in the business 28 years. A newer agent may not have the contacts, the resources, the experience that I have, right? That's different than me saying, "Hey, John Doe, they've only been doing this for 1 year and they're pretty new at it and they suck." So there's a big difference, right? Bottom line is you can sell what you bring to the table, just don't knock someone off the table.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. So you
So I
got any
think
more
that's all I
on
got for today.
no more Santa's naughty list?
Nope.
The time that we've been married, I've heard a lot of it. That's pretty
Well, I
good.
mean, I think we lumped a bunch of them in together, and I got a lot of stuff off my chest, which hopefully there are agents that will watch this and, like you said, will take note and maybe it'll resonate with them that they can say, oh, you know what, I have done that. I probably shouldn't. That's how I have learned, and that's why I said I've done some of these things. I've been guilty of them, but I have learned by being in a situation where somebody handled something so professionally, and I thought, wow, that was really cool. I'm going to do that. I want to be like them, right?
Yep.
So find those agents that do great business. Look at how they do it. Look at how they handle themselves and start modeling yourself after them if you're having problems with some of this stuff.
Yeah. If you're going to copy something, copy something good or copy something great. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right. So time to hop off the soapbox. We hope you got a lot out of this, both agents and everybody else that's watching it.
Yeah, put your
Again,
comments, share your experiences, maybe some pet peeves you guys have that I didn't touch on that again is good for everybody to know so we can elevate this industry. But put your comments and questions down below because we'll use those questions in future podcasts.
yeah. And do us a favor if you're listening on Spotify, if you're watching this on YouTube, give us a like, give us a heart, love us, and we will see you in our next podcast in a couple of weeks.
Adios.
All right. See ya.